Welcome to the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast with Mike Kincaid and Jake Goebel. Join them as they experience specialty coffee and document their journey. These friends explore roasts and roasting methods, brewing equipment and techniques, and review the cafes they visit along the way.
Thanks, Brioni, and thank you for joining us for episode 50 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. We're pretty excited to have made it this far. 50 episodes, 10,000 downloads. It's very exciting. So thankful that you've decided to join us on this journey into specialty coffee. We've got a great show lined up for you today. So let's just jump right in. We're doing it. We're really doing it. Anyhow, I'm Jake Goebel, and I'm sitting here with Mike Kincaid. And as he slams his phone down onto the table, hear all the smashing around over here, we have something super exciting to celebrate with you today. It's episode 50. 50 episodes. I didn't even think we were going to make it to like 3. When Mikey and I first sat down in a Starbucks as we were drinking overpriced and poorly extracted Americanos, talking about the future of coffee. Now here we are in episode 50.
50.
Wow, you sound pumped up.
I am.
You sound very excited.
Oh, no, that's pretty... It's for me, it's more of a... I can't believe it either.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
It means the next milestone's 100. So we're halfway there.
Yes. The next milestone is like 100 at least. So we've got some surprises lined up for you today. I think you're really going to enjoy it. But before we get into those, you know what we got to get into?
What do we got to get into?
We got to get into Manny G Recommends.
Manny G Recommends.
So this is what Manny G recommends today.
Well, Manny G recommends that you try something new. So I just came back from a trip to California and I took my Aeropress with me. And I don't use my Aeropress all that much, but I decided to take it with me. That'll be the only device that I could use to make coffee. I didn't even bring a scale. I brought the scoop that it comes with and just a couple recipes. And so I just took that week to figure out how to use this thing properly. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. It took a few days to dial in something worth drinking, but I really loved it. So my recommendation for this week is to dig out that brewer that your wife bought you in the back of your cabinet, or buy something new that you've not tried before. And just experiment, get away from the norm and see if you can do something new.
I love it.
Wait. What's that?
That's the Manny G, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Manny G, alive and in the flesh, live on the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, right here with us in studio via the internet. Okay,
yes.
He's not really with us. He's not really with us, but I wish he was with us. And it feels like Manny's with us because, Manny, you've been a part of this from the beginning, man, and we love you, dude. Thank you so much for joining us on the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast, episode 50. It had to be special. It had to be awesome. We had to pull out the stops. We had to have Manny G on it. Whew, I'm okay.
Yes.
I'm okay. So, Manny,
everything's fine. Yes.
Did you brought a hand grinder with you to Cali when you went from Indiana to Cali?
I brought my Lido 3 with me to California.
Ooh, the Lido 3. So you brought a grinder that costs 5 times more than the Aeropress itself.
Yes.
Maybe not 5 times. That sounds just like an espresso machine, right? Like they have expensive coffee machines in the cafe, but the grinder, like Jared and Chris from Cat and Cloud, they said, "Oh, you got $1,000 for an espresso machine? Spend $800 of it on a grinder and keep saving."
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. It's all about the grind.
So then you just used the scooper.
Yeah, I wanted to bring my scale, but I found like a bunch of recipes that were just like use the scoop. And I am like a coffee Nazi. Like if I don't do it right, then I'll like take the coffee out back and shoot it. Like I have to have the perfect grind, the perfect time, the perfect weight. But I thought, I'm just going to throw that out the window for a week. And I packed my stuff, got on a plane, and it was too late. Like I
The decision was made.
at home.
Regret was setting in. The plane was taking off, and you were panicking.
I'm banging on the pilot's door. Turn around! I need my scale.
So,
He
what
would
kind
not
of scale
do it.
are you? What kind of scale are you using at home?
I use a scale that I bought on Amazon for like nothing. It was like $10, but it
Nice.
measures like in like a tenth of a gram. So it's perfect and it's accurate and it's fast. And I don't even remember what it's called, but
What did you do for hot water while you were traveling? I mean, you were not like camping, were you?
No, well,
you were staying at friends' houses. Did you use the microwave?
Well,
Did they have
mostly
buns
stayed
in
at my
everybody's house?
I stayed at my mom's house, and I just got a pot, boiled water. I boiled filtered water, filtered from a refrigerator, in a pot, and I poured that into a carafe that she had, and then I used that to pour into the Aeropress.
Caveman style.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it was great.
absolutely, absolutely.
It was
That's
great.
awesome.
That's a
That's
great
awesome.
tip, though.
So now Manny G is actually from LA, from the West Coast, from the great state of California. But
Yes.
now he's in Evansville, Indiana. How did he get there? Well, I'm going to tell you. Tie it into his love and passion for coffee. As a young man, he went to Calvary Chapel Bible College. While he was there, he met some friends who were planning a church in Evansville, Indiana. Manny, had you ever heard of Evansville, Indiana before that time?
I knew that it was a third world country, but that's about it.
Perfect. That sounds like a perfect place for a church plant. So
Yes.
while in college, Manny was exposed to Starbucks. Starbucks, the second wave takeover of espresso-based beverages, and he fell in love. He fell in love with espresso and with coffee. What was your go-to drink in college, if you remember, Manny?
Americano.
Okay. Okay. So that's legit. That's legit espresso and water, as opposed to the rest of us, like, put something sweet,
Yeah, we start with
foamy,
the latte,
and milky
the
in
mocha.
there.
Yeah.
So you skipped the latte,
Most
went
of what
straight to
we
the Americano.
drank was Americano and just shots of espresso, and that was basically
Line 'em
it.
up.
I did not
College kids.
really get. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was studying Greek, dude. I needed to stay up and be focused. So
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all Greek to you now, right?
yes, now it is. Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
So Manny heads out to Evansville, Indiana, and is such the case in life when you're going out to take on new adventures. He met a girl, got married, moved to Indianapolis, moved back to Evansville once he started having kids, building a family, but the coffee love continued to grow.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you were doing, regardless of where he was,
Kids
his
will do
love for coffee. That's right. Because at first you start having to drink shots of espresso to stay up late to study Greek. And then you have to drink shots of espresso to stay up late to deal with colicky babies.
Yes. Yeah, and I've really my oldest son is 9, and I haven't slept in 9 years.
Perfect. And I ain't had no cash in my pockets for 9 years either.
Yes, that's right.
Well, that's very sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Manny, and taking time out of your busy schedule to share it with us. I think it's important to know that Manny, he got himself a full-time job. Manny is working. Manny ain't got no time for Mike and Jake, these ruffians who are doing this craziness on the side. So really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to kick it with us, because Manny's got other hobbies that he wants to do. Manny is not only roasting coffee. We're going to talk about that in a second. Manny is roasting meat or smoking meat. Smoking meat. Mm-hmm. And Manny is playing video games. Boom. Boom.
Yes. Couple of
That's
my
how
hobbies.
Manny do it.
Yeah, that's all he does. Those three things.
That's it. That's it.
That's
But
it.
I just said he got a full-time job and a family.
Oh.
So last year, Manny started smoking ribs. And what is surprising to me about my man Manny G is he's a fix-it man. Manny's very good with his hands. It's almost like a certain, no, don't. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Okay, so Manny G is good with his hands, and he's got a saying that he lives by, which is totally what I am the opposite of.
Yes.
But it's build it, don't buy it. So this plays into a couple different things. So Manny, when you started smoking meat, you rigged up your own grill to be a smoker. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it just started with a desire to do something that I've never done before, but I wanted to. So I figured out a way to just, I just learned different principles. How can you take a gas grill and turn it into a rib smoker? Because you're cooking these ribs for 5-6 hours at a low temperature. So I figured out how to make it low. I figured out how to cook it indirectly, and I figured out how to smoke wood inside of it, inside a separate little area, so that because you can cook at a low temperature in your oven, but you're not going to burn wood in your oven. So
no, ideally,
I did
usually, yeah, unless
it's your countertops that are going in there.
Yeah. So that's how that started. I figured out that, this is something I can do. I want to get good at it, but I don't have the proper tools to do it right. So
you had to up your game.
Yeah. So I bought a smoker that was on sale at Menards, and there you go. Off to the races.
Now, and now smoker.
Yeah,
I have a question, because I have a smoker that I got for free. Is this? And I don't know much. I just know mine is has a water pan smoker.
Yeah.
Do you have? Is yours a similar setup? Is it like a cylinder?
No. Well, there's some
smoker?
that are like cabinet smokers where you have like a small fire on the bottom, and mine it's like it's kind of like a dome. It's similar to like a Big Green Egg, but not that particular brand. But you can smoke meat on like a Weber kettle.
Man, it sounded like you said you could smoke weed.
You can.
Man, is everything okay? Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, you can definitely smoke all kinds of stuff.
On the Big Green Egg thing.
Yeah,
I think the audience knows that.
They already knew that. Okay, I'm the only ignorant one. Okay,
but if you can figure out how to set up a smoker for indirect heat, then you can cook something low and slow for a long period of time and get it to work.
So now your other passion, coffee, brought you to creating and building your own roaster.
Yes.
Are you using a hot pan? Was it a hot pan, a pizza plate, and a hair dryer like the Ghostly Roaster is, or what was your setup for your home roasting device? Because Ghostly was knocking it out the park with like steel pans and some pots that he's throwing together and riding a bicycle to grind his coffee.
Yes. Well, he's figured out a way to, I'm good with wood. I'm not good with metal because I don't have any tools to work metal. But
gotcha.
He does. So he can manipulate metal. So he's been able to create a drum.
He's Magneto.
And he's able to...
I don't know why it didn't even occur to me the last time when we were talking to him. He's Magneto. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But no, he's figured out a way to make it work, right? Because he agitates the beans. The drum doesn't spin, right? He has an agitator on the inside, and he's figured out how to make that work. And, he set up his probes inside, and he's able to have a stable environment. So I took a while to kind of figure something out. So what I did is I just made like a wood platform underneath. I have a heat gun for my heat source that has like variable temperature and air speed settings. And on top of the platform, I have it's a flour sifter. So basically it's just a stainless steel can.
Of course it is.
That's what Jake would have used.
Of course it's a flour sifter. Yeah, that's exactly what I would starve and die. I cannot rig a grill to be a smoker. I cannot build my own coffee roaster. I would be the worst caveman on the planet. They'd be like, bro, if you're not contributing, you're out of the team, you're out of the community, and you're out of coffee. And I'd be like, no, please take me. There's something I can do. I can be loud and obnoxious.
Here, roll this rock down the
hill. So I made the platform to hold a angle drill that I had, and the angle drill kind of sits up nicely, and the little flour sifter comes with like a hand crank. So I removed the hand crank and I just made that piece of steel just straight, connected my drill to it. So I'm able to control the speed of the agitating paddle or what have you. Mm-hmm. So it works really well. And I even put some temperature probes in there so I can, see the temperature of the heat coming in. And I have it's really difficult to have a bean probe in there, but I fit one in and it's just not very accurate. So, despite my best efforts, I can't repeat consistent roasts, and profiling it's just such a headache. It's like the more I learn and the more I understand about roasting, the harder it becomes, and the more I realize that I either have to give this up or I have to save up for something better.
This is also not the first podcast that the Manny G has been on or has been involved with. His last hobby is playing video games. And there's no social stigma attached to that anymore. We have cleansed ourselves from this theory or this concept that people who play video games are socially irresponsible folks. I know when I was growing up, I was always getting yelled at. You're playing those video games, you're wasting your life away. Nobody's going to pay you money to play video games. Well, now gamers get paid millions to play video games. So thanks, Ma. Thanks for that. I could have been the Madden champ. You should have seen me in Madden 93.
Just like anything in life, if you need to apply some level of moderation, because excess on any level for any hobby or activity, it's going to lead to some kind of danger. So if you're excessive with gaming, if you're excessive with, anything, eating, drinking, what have you, there's dangers and pitfalls, that if you're not going to have enough self-control to stay away from, then, you're going to find yourself in some hazards.
But Manny G has navigated those pitfalls. He has exercised the self-control to turn this Destiny game into something positive. So he has been involved with a community around this Destiny Reset podcast and the game itself. It's a first-person shooter that has some RPG elements to it where you can play with other people across the world on the interwebs. And through Manny G, I've had the privilege of meeting some of his fellow gamers. One of them, his name is John. You've heard me talk about him, not only on the podcast, but also on the Daily Ristretto. He sent us some coffee from Sweden. Yeah. My man is in Sweden.
That was great.
He's playing Destiny. He's listening to the podcast. He's drinking coffee. He's sending us coffee. There really is a sense of community about not only the Destiny Reset podcast, but also about coffee in general. So, Manny, would you tell us, just a little bit, how do you navigate this couple thousand member community for Destiny Reset? Maybe you can give a little plug for the game and for that podcast. And then also, how could Mike and I do a better job of building a community around coffee for our show?
Yeah, well, Nate and Lance, those are the two guys that do the Destiny Reset podcast.
Big shout out, Nate and Lance. Big shout out.
Yeah, actually, those are their real names. I don't know if anybody knows their real names, so I'm sorry.
Oh, oops. Sorry, oops. Nate and Lance. Forgive us for using your real name.
But, anyways.
But still big shout out, homie.
Yeah, they put on a good show. It's a clean show. They're both, around my age. They're both a little younger, but they have young families, and they have the same kind of concerns that I do. And they wanted to start a community that is welcoming, that helps people to kind of be themselves. And, there's a lot of, it's a game. So there's a lot of competition, but our main focus is community, being a place where people could come and be safe and make friends. And some of these friendships and relationships are lasting, and they're I have friends that I've had for years that I've never even seen, but they're good friends that I can always go to and talk to about personal stuff because they're there for me, and I've met them in gaming communities. So that's what we do with Destiny Reset. We create community, and I personally am a community admin. So basically what that means is that I help to create guidelines to keep peace and to kind of promote community. So I also kind of operate in the background to deal with any kind of like disputes or any kind of like, things that need mediation. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do in this gaming community, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I've made a lot of really good friends doing it.
I would say it sounds intimidating to me. I'm not a gamer. I mean, I quit playing video games a long time ago, and I just haven't gotten back. Not because it doesn't sound interesting, but because the what's the word I'm looking for, Mikey? The curve, the entry. There's a learning curve. That's what. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, the learning curve.
The learning curve seems so high to me. Like to play video games and then to play video games online, and then like these massive online multiplayer game, whatever things. My brother, he's big into them. And I like MM something or others. There's an acronym there that I'm making myself look foolish for not knowing.
Yes, what do you think it is?
MMORPG.
MMORPG. That's just what I was going to say. That's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Bam. Yes. Boom. I'm here all night. But it's intimidating to me as a non-gamer, so I can definitely see the value of having a community where you can come in and get to know people, and they can kind of take you by the hand and lead you through just learning how to play the game, and maybe some other online pitfalls that would, ensnare you if you weren't prepared for them.
Well, and it's interesting, Manny, that you kind of talk about the community, because I used to play online gaming games online. I don't even know the terminology anymore.
Good.
I used to play, but the community, a lot of times, if you were new, you were kind of, labeled and called out and made it was usually kind of uncomfortable if you took things, if you were sensitive, and especially where these games where you can chat with people that you're playing, especially your opponent, it can get pretty intense, and they will, you know what I'm saying? They'll
imagine if you would have stumbled into a group of people who kind of came alongside you, helped you experience things in the games that you've never experienced before because they're challenging or because they require a group, and they're friendly to you and they don't care about how good you are, but they're just interested in you having a good time. That's Destiny Reset. That's what we do in our communities, because it's fun for us, it's satisfying for us, and at the end of the day, it's about people. But I know there's a lot of gaming communities that are completely opposite.
That's been my experience. 100%.
For sure.
You spend hours and hours just practicing by yourself because, you don't want to come in as somebody with no experience, because you just know you'll be ostracized. You'll be kicked out. You'll be tore up.
Now, Manny, you've helped us join the greater coffee community with this coast-to-coast roast that you sent to us and that you recommended a little while back. We had our first Brew Pal, Mike and I did in April. I even got the words right this time. But I haven't gotten anything in May. Have you got anything in May yet?
No, sometimes it's closer towards the end of the month because the people who put this on, and I forgot her name, and so I'm sorry, but
they do it for free.
Yes, exactly. It's done for free, and
it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
What was that?
What is that? Get me out of here.
Oh, that's my dog. That's my dog. If you hear that little yapper dog, it's a Chiweenie. Now that it's on the air, I gotta acknowledge all 8 pounds of Chiweenie. Chihuahua Dachshund mix. It's the missus. Please don't judge me. I love my wife. So how can we do a better job of building coffee community that is not alienating to folks? Because really, if you think about it, coffee can be intimidating to people, especially when you start taking it seriously.
Specialty.
Specialty.
Coffee.
It's gourmet coffee. It's third wave, Michael. It's third wave.
Well, you want to be the kind of friend that you also would like to have. So if you want to have friends that are good and kind, then you have to be that type of person. And if you want to build a community, then you have to reach out. You have to reach out and say, look, this is what we're doing. We would like to invite you, and just have an open invitation to some kind of platform where people could come, they could ask questions, they could hang out, they could give feedback, and you can watch their knowledge grow over time. And, eventually, the student becomes the master, and, that reproduction kind of happens, and that's how you have growth.
Great.
That's perfect.
I think that's words of wisdom that can really be applied across any
absolutely
any platform or any industry or any
treat
hobby.
others as you want to be treated. It reminds me of a study.
I've heard of that somewhere before, but go ahead with your study.
I've heard of a study that Google put on that put millions of dollars into what makes productive teams at work. At the end of the study, they concluded, treat others as you want to be treated. I thought,
that's a good use. That's a good use of millions of dollars.
I know. It was. Lots of money went into this study. It was like a multi-year study. I forget what it was called.
You could have just dropped $5 in the email on me. I'd have hooked you up.
I know, right? But that's such a great point, Manny, that the principles, those foundational truths that people can live by, they carry over into everything you do, whether it's business, personal, just relationships, interacting with people. And I think that's something that you've definitely highlighted that I think is interesting. There is still a stigma, I guess, with our kind of social platform, with technology and the internet, that, hey, people don't talk anymore. You know what I mean? People don't have conversations anymore. That's not entirely true. I think the same thing that you would have to exercise in person, you got to look at somebody and say, hi, or engage. If you use that same principle and engage in the community.
Manny's talking to dudes in Sweden, bro.
Exactly.
Manny's talking to dudes in Sweden playing a video game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've got good friends in Canada. I've got good friends in Hong Kong. I have good friends in Australia.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And it wouldn't have happened unless you were out putting yourself out there.
And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. It's your willingness to put yourself out there, and Manny G is willing to do that. He's willing to do that for us.
He did.
He gives us recommendations, more recommendations than any man could ever be asked of. And let me tell you what else Manny G does. Manny G has run, or maybe you haven't run it, but Manny G's been a part of these Teespring campaigns where not only are we playing video games together, not only are we talking online and building communities, but we're also sporting the gear together. We're sporting the gear. And that is from this Destiny Reset podcast and this platform called Teespring. And I've mentioned it before, but basically what it is you design a t-shirt, and what entrepreneurs will do is they'll market it on Facebook. If you have a community, you just let everybody know, hey, the shirt's ready. And then as long as enough people buy the shirt or order the shirt, pre-buy the shirt, it will get made and then sent out. And that's been a business for a lot of people, which I've talked about before. They'll make the Kiss Me, I'm Irish shirts, and they're just looking to make money without having to do anything except the creative work from the computer.
Not much capital.
Not much. You don't have to put any capital into that. That's different than Manny and the crew for DRP. They're not doing that. What they're doing is they're trying to build a greater sense of community and giving people some ownership in it. Yeah. And really, because that's what it is. If I can, pride in the community. Yeah. So Manny has recommended that to us in the past. And Manny, I'm just going to ask your opinion here and seek your wisdom and counsel, because there's a part of me that really loves the packaging portion. Yeah. And Teespring does all that. I really like putting drawings on the boxes and getting Christmas in the mail. And you've gotten some beans from us before. Can you bridge that gap for me, or just kind of tell me what your thoughts are on that? Because I want to give Christmas in the mail to customers. But at the same time, I don't want to alienate folks that want to build community.
Yes.
And because of my pride, I'll swallow my pride and say, well, maybe that's not me right now. Maybe 2 years from now or a year from now, I can, hoard a bunch of shirts and package them in the wee hours of the morning and put, little smiley face stamps on things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you have to broaden how you think of your audience. Your audience will be comprised of both customers and community members. So your customers want to come to you and they want to buy something from you. They want to have that experience, that Christmas in the mail. They want to have something that is put together that's special for them, that when they get it from USPS and open it up, they're stoked. You've made their day because that package looks great. You open it up, it's personalized, and it looks professional.
I love the sound of that.
And it makes you happy, right?
And big shout outs to USPS. I love USPS. Go ahead. Sorry.
But there's also a party of your audience that are community members, people who are listening to you faithfully because they care about what you're doing. They like your personality. They like and appreciate the hard work you're putting in. And they want to represent Orange Cactus Podcast, which is different than representing Orange Cactus Coffee, right?
Right. Yeah. So, you're absolutely right. I never thought about that. That's like mind being blown right here.
I mean, in one sense, you want to create a product that you sell that blow people away. But on another sense, you want to be able to support a community and have a community that supports you in return by representing what you do. So that's where the Teespring campaign comes in. It's a community and a group effort to say, hey, we love Orange Cactus Coffee. We love what's going on. And we want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it by supporting you guys with information and fellowship and camaraderie, but also I've purchased your coffee, but I also want to support the brand as well because I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of what you guys have accomplished, and I'm proud of what you guys are going to do in this next couple years. So the Teespring campaign is basically the community coming together and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this. We want to show people that we love what's happening with Orange Cactus. And, so if I get a shirt that comes in a plastic envelope, that's okay because my prize is wearing the shirt, showing people, hey, I'm a part of this community.
Gotcha. It's not necessarily getting that Christmas in the mail. It's almost like I had a hand in this. This is mine.
Yes.
This is mine. This isn't me getting something from you. This is mine.
Yes. And it's very much, this is me doing something with you because you're going to buy a shirt yourself and you're going to put that shirt on that basically.
I got to buy shirts for the kids too.
Yeah. And this is a way that you'll relate to your community as well, because you're going to put on that community t-shirt and it's going to connect you with the people that listen, because you don't want to have, you don't want to have a bunch of fans of the podcast. You want to have community members and you want to have fellows in this adventure.
Yes.
You want to have friends. There's a lot of people that do have podcasts and all they care about is listeners and numbers. They don't care about the individuals, but I know you guys are different. So this is a way to celebrate the individual.
It's because we don't have any numbers
together as a community.
Get excited about. It's because we don't have any numbers, Manny. That's why we don't care about those things. Because if we did, we'd be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm inspired. I'm inspired. Great. Thank you, Manny. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm kind of at a loss for words on moving on to the next segment here. I got nothing. I'm just blown away by the awesomeness that is Manny G. But the next thing we're supposed to talk about is coffee reviews. What have you been drinking lately?
I have been drinking. I've been drinking a couple things. Mostly Klatch coffee. Klatch coffee is an awesome roaster. They have been interviewed. The owner has been interviewed on coffeeis.me podcast. And that's where I first learned about it. They're out in California. There's a lot of them out there. and they just roast some really delicious stuff. So I went there several times when I was in Cali last week, and I bought some beans that I brought with me from them, and I've
5, 6, 7.
Whoa! What are you talking about? Several here, Manny. Do we need an intervention?
What?
Is this like several, like 3 or 4, or several like 12 in 2 days?
Oh, several
Trips
several
to the
visits.
cafe. Yeah.
No, he's acting like we don't know what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh, we're talking about you going to Clutch Coffee, Manny. Don't change the subject. You know what this is about. You didn't clean your room, you didn't do the dishes, and you didn't put the trash out.
Dude, they're really good. And every time I went there, I just had a pour over and an Americano, and they're great.
Nice.
There was another coffee shop there that was called Rad in Ontario, and it was pretty good. They were selling Verve coffee, so it was kind of a neat place. But I've been trying to work my way through this Clutch, and it's just
Rad coffee.
gone.
We've had some Clutch before, and it was excellent.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was good because I think you found them. They were named. They won an award.
They won an award at a
article.
coffee fest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a coffee fest in Southern California, and they won like best espresso or best roasting. They won something, and I think I saw it on dailycoffeenews.com or something like that. I saw
They have won several prestigious awards, including best espresso in the world, by some people who drink coffee throughout the world. I don't know.
I need to get some of that espresso so I can rock it in my mocha pot.
Yes, there you go.
All right. Manny, I'm curious, just because you mentioned visiting a cafe, what do you like? What do you look for? What draws you to a cafe?
Well, there are not a lot of cafes out here in the Midwest where I am. So,
An open sign? Is that what?
So they have to have something that they're proud of, you know. But yeah, it's funny out here in the Midwest. There's just not a lot of options down in southern Indiana.
Yeah, we can relate a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were out kind of in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, and small town living.
Yeah,
small town living. It's not a whole lot of. It's not like there's not people who know coffee or enjoy coffee. There's just a lack of, entrepreneurs. I think there's, anytime you want to do something special, there's going to be naysayers all around you. Yes. Like, as I'm looking for retail spaces and locations, I'm looking and I'm talking to other business owners about where their customers come from, and I'm looking at spaces, right? Yes. And everybody has got a reason to tell me, or everybody has a reason why it's not going to work, why it's a bad location. It's like if you're not on campus if within walking distance of a major college, people are going to tell you, this is a bad location.
Never works.
It's never going to work here. It's never going to work. It's going to work. It's never going to work. So that's interesting. I think a lot of us end up believing that, and we never try. And I think for me personally, without Mike, I don't know if I ever would have really tried coffee as a business, or to go out and learn the business side and kind of just really try to sell roasted beef. Yeah, we don't sell much, but without him, I don't think I ever really would have, because he's been supportive and been like, let's try it, and dumb enough to try, I guess, as well. In addition to being supportive, so it's kind of like. If you don't have somebody that says, yeah, I think you can do it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
You got to be a deaf frog.
Yeah. You got to be the deaf frog.
About that little story.
Tell us the story, Mike.
Have you ever heard of the deaf frog story, Manny?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, it's a story that's usually told kind of to younger kids. But there's many different variations, and I'll give you the short version. Essentially, two frogs fall into a big hole. And it's raining, and in the story they can talk with each other, because frogs can communicate. We know that. We don't know what they're saying, but they can communicate amongst themselves.
Frogs can talk.
So yeah, science has proven this. But the two frogs that fall into a hole are trying to figure out how to get out, and they're jumping, and the hole is a little too deep. The rest of the frogs from the pack, or whatever a group of frogs is called,
a tribe.
The tribe gathers, and they say, hey, you're never going to make it. It's way too deep. Stop jumping. Save your energy. In fact, it's starting to rain. Just let the rain fill the hole up, and you'll float right out. And as they're yelling this down to the two frogs in the hole, one frog does not stop jumping, just keeps jumping and jumping and jumping. And they're like, what is he doing? He's going to tire himself out. He's going to get hurt. And then before they know it, the frog takes one last leap, flies out of the hole over their heads. They turn around and they look at this frog, and the frog says, thank you so much for encouraging me. I didn't think I could do it, but you guys just kept egging me on. And they look at each other and they go, he's deaf. And so there's kind of a whole moral of the story that, be a deaf frog just means.
So the tribe then turns and starts to cheer on the other frog that's inside the hole.
And encourage him to go. And it's kind of a lesson for all.
And he makes it out. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for finishing it.
That's great.
That's the deaf frog. So I think that happens a lot because many people will tell you can't do it. But if you don't listen, you don't know.
Yeah. And the first time that Mike tried to encourage me with this story, I didn't hear deaf frog with an F. I heard dead frog. Be a dead frog. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Even better. Be a dead frog. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, totally.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So how did we get on that?
Experience. We were talking about cafe experiences, and then the lack of
feedback.
Cafes is not necessarily due to a lack of coffee drinking population in the Midwest.
Not at all.
Just it's something different. Somebody's got to step up and kind of do it. So, what did you have the best and worst experiences of going to cafes, Manny? Anything? Any funny stories to share with us?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I go to a cafe, then, I'm only going because I know what they have there to drink. I usually don't go, there's just not enough out here to just kind of I'll go here, I'll go there and just kind of see what's out there. So, unfortunately where I live, mostly we just have Starbucks. We've got a lot of them, but that's basically all we have. And, it could be a nice experience.
Commodity. Yeah, that's a known commodity.
You tried their specialty reserve? Just curious.
Their special reserve?
Their special
reserve. Like the clover. Any clovers out there?
Nope. No clovers out here.
Seen any clovers? Seen any clovers running up and down the street, bro?
Out here, if I go to a Starbucks, it's basically to meet a friend and just hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't go for the coffee.
Yeah, you're the coffee guy, Manny. You must love Starbucks. You must love Starbucks.
But man, last time I went to Starbucks, I look, I order I think I ordered an Americano, and I kind of look over the side, and there's just this milk mess everywhere, and it looks disgusting. And it's I don't even want to be here. I don't want to look at this. And then I take my drink and I go sit down, and it's, nice seats and stuff. But man,
and they look at you. You want room for cream? No.
Nope. Nope.
Not
what about? Yeah. What about when you were up in Indianapolis? Do you remember much of the coffee scene up there?
No, I don't. I just wasn't. This was several years ago since I lived up there. And there wasn't a lot of roasters up there that I knew of. And I mostly went to Starbucks, just like Evansville.
Yeah, it's a known commodity. And that's what I've told Mikey. A mocha tastes the same in, LA as it does in Evansville, as it does in Thailand, as it does in Hong Kong, as it does in Australia. All the places that I've had, mochas from Starbucks, they all taste the same. Yeah. It's only the little mugs that you can buy in the cafe, are different.
Price.
And the price. Yeah.
I saw a price chart. Some people pay a lot of money for Starbucks.
Yep.
I think Russia was like $12 for a standard latte.
But they pay in rubles, don't they?
I don't know.
How many rubles is $12? Manny, do you know how many rubles is $12?
Like 8? I really don't know.
That's all right. Do you
at today's price? Yes, that's perfect.
So I was thinking specifically for the section, the brew tip of the week. Mike just bought me, because he's a nice guy, a Kalita Wave, a 185, and
Style.
The style?
Yeah, I think it's called the style.
The style. It's a carafe, and it's got
translation.
A little metal thing that sits in there, and then holds a glass basket, and then the filter goes in the glass basket. It looks sweet. But I know that the Kalita Wave is kind of your go-to device. So what can you share with us that will help us get the best brew out of this Kalita Wave?
Yeah.
I brew on a 155, which is their single cup, and a 185. I do the 185 every day for work. It's been my experience that if you do both, you have to change your grind for sure. You have to go coarser for the 185 because it's been my experience that you can over extract if you put too many fine grinds, if it's too fine in the larger brewer. But you have to, with any new brewer, you got to take time to dial in your coffee in that brewer. So don't be afraid of making like 3 different waves in one sitting just to find how your grind should be. So if you need to go, if it's tasting one way, then you need to go coarser, you need to go finer. You got to find that sweet spot, because if you just do it up front, like right away, then, the rest of that coffee bag is going to be good. But if you're like, I'll just try it differently the next day, you might forget how the first day was. And,
I'm not, there's no maybe about it. There's no maybe about it.
This time.
Yeah. So you gotta take time at the beginning to get it right or to figure it out. But I love it. I use it every day, and it's really good.
Any update on the Espresso Forge? Is it coming? Has it been manufactured? Is it shipped? Do you have it?
Well,
what's the latest on that?
It has not shipped. They had all the production was done. Andre at Espresso Forge got in his order, and a lot of the parts were wrong. He had changed the design, and the manufacturer used an old design. So he had to ship parts back to them. They had to evaluate whether or not they can fix it or if they have to just begin again. So the latest word is that they will be able to use the parts that they have. They just have to rework some things, and it probably will not ship till the end of the month.
It's a little frustrating, isn't it? As a businessman, you're constantly trying to improve your product, like it sounds like Andre is, and kind of the Espresso Forge journey as we've been following along from the outside. We've seen that constantly trying to make things better for your end user, and
his goal is
if you're dependent upon a manufacturer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to make an heirloom product that you can have for yourself, that you could pass on to your kids, because it's all stainless steel. It's high quality. Cool. It's thick grade, and he wants, and there's only a couple things you can replace, you could replace some O-rings. You could replace, just not much really. So it's really built to last. So he does want to refine his design and make it something that is really special. But yeah, there comes a lot of obstacles and hurdles with changing your design with such a small lot. I think he's only made like 50 for this one order right now.
Mm-hmm. And he's trying to make it better, and the manufacturer's fighting him by making the wrong stuff.
Yeah,
which is challenging, because if you're not, if you're gonna buy it, don't build it. You might build all the plans and everything, but if you need someone for you, it's challenging. You're at their mercy. That was the problem with our hats that we were trying to get in and to make beautiful. They don't always work.
There's so much, when you're trying to bring a product to market like that, and you rely on other vendors or third parties, there's so many things that can go wrong that you really don't account for or anticipate.
Yeah.
You say, I'll just get this, I'll order this, I'll put it together, I'll ship it. And then you go, what do you mean you don't have what I need? What do you mean there's a delay? What do you mean the cargo ship from China hasn't arrived?
Yeah.
Like all these complexities that you don't account for. And then you kind of have this chain of people waiting. And now you got to send out emails, you got to communicate, or you could be like most companies, just be silent. Take the money.
Yeah, take the money
and say nothing else.
and not tell anyone.
Yeah. So that is interesting.
Yeah. Big ups to Busy. Big ups to Busy there.
It still hurts.
Yeah. Well,
it still hurts.
I got my money back. I should just let it go.
I wasn't even thinking about Busy.
It sounded like you know what? It sounded like you wanted to open the wound again. That's what it sounded like.
If the shoe fits.
If the shoe fits, then wear it.
Well, Andre's been really good with communication, with letting everybody know what's going on. So, it's a specially made product, and it's just not mass produced. And and he offered everyone a refund. He said, if you do not want to wait, I will gladly give you all of your deposit back, and we can move on. So, nice. As far as what he can control, I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, it's just him. I mean, it's not a big operation.
You know what? And you can't fake caring. You cannot fake caring. When you care about something, it's obvious. And if you go to their website, if you follow them, if you engage at all with Andre and his crew, you can tell that he cares. That he cares about the Espresso Forge, and that he cares about his people, his community, and his customers. So,
yeah.
All right, Manny. Last thing, Big Manny G. You said you got some hand grinders coming, or you got more grinders in the mail. You've got a problem. You need to stop. But until that time, tell us, what kind of grinders are you getting?
There's an elusive grinder because of the part of the world I live in. It's the Kinu grinder, Kinu. And they are really, really well made. They're called the Mitrometric manual coffee grinder. So they make a couple different sizes.
I didn't catch that, Manny. Sorry,
you're gonna have to acronym, please.
Can you say that over 5 times fast for me, real quick?
Yes. They're really meticulously made with and they're just made super well. I mean, near perfectly. So I've been using them for a few days now. I'm really impressed with their ability.
Them already.
Yes.
And did you get all of these from Kinu, or is it one grinder? Or I thought you were getting a handful. I thought you were getting like 2 or 3 more.
Well, Andre has a nice. Cool deal going for himself right now. He has become the U.S. distributor for Kinu grinders. Espresso Forge. So that's where they came from. There is a 38 millimeter, a 47 millimeter, and a 68, I believe. The 68 is like a one that sits on your countertop for sure. But they're really, really
Not
good.
Me. I can, I'm strong. It's okay.
They're really good. They're really good, really smooth. I normally use the Lido 3. The Lido 3 is really, really good. I love it. My wife and I use it, and it's been the only grinder that I've used for a long time. I've kind of, I'll try something, and if I don't like it, or if I find a replacement, then I'll sell it. I don't like to keep a lot of stuff, honestly.
Me neither. Totally not. Yeah.
So I've had several grinders, but I'm really happy with the Lido. These Kinu grinders are pretty awesome, but in all honesty, I don't think I'm going to keep either of them. I'll hold on to the Lido, but the Kinu, I just don't. They're really good, but they're it's just kind of redundant,
Yeah, and I can relate. Not in coffee things, because I feel like I have to try everything and report back to the audience, to my people, what we're experiencing, because we're documenting this journey for not only for us but for others. But I feel you. There's something about having your method, your way, your thing. Like I brew on this, the Kalita Wave. I use a grinder. It's this. I'm looking for this flavor out of my coffee. Do you have a special mug, or do you have a preference, like a double-walled glass mug, or do you use porcelain, or is there, because it sounds like you're probably particular about that as well.
Well, I go to, I'm at work all day, so I can't make coffee while I'm working. So I grind 37.5 grams of coffee and I use 600 milliliters of water. And I take that with me. I just put them in like a thermos, and then I pour from the thermos into like a smaller cup, and I just drink that all day. And sometimes it'll last me just a few hours. Sometimes it'll last me till like 2 o'clock or whatever. But
yeah, when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, pretty much. And if I come home early enough, then I'll make another cup of coffee when I get home.
What time does your route start in the morning, or what time do you start?
I work from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. generally. Sometimes later.
Sometimes earlier, sometimes later, right? During the holiday season, you're out there much longer.
Yes, definitely.
Because you're Santa Claus. You're Santa Claus.
Because I'm delivering all the stuff you guys ordered.
That's right.
Somebody has to get
I love it.
Even if it's raining.
That's right. All right, Manny. Anything else you want to say to the crew before we wrap this show up?
Dude, well, thanks for letting me be a part of what you guys are doing, and I just really appreciate it. I really do. And you put yourself out there, and sometimes it's received, sometimes it's not, but you have to try. So, that's just one thing I would encourage everybody who's listening to do. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to offer something to somebody that may cost you something, but not them. It's okay, because at the end of the day, you might make a new friend.
That's brilliant, Manny. Thank you.
That's probably the best ending to our podcast ever. So that was perfect. Usually we just ramble on until we think, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Better end it.
Yeah.
It was much better.
It was much better.
We're ruining it now.
Yes. Because we won't shut up. All right. Catch you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you indeed for joining us for episode 50 of the Orange Cactus Coffee Podcast. It was a special one for me. Special to have Manny G on there. Thank you so much, Manny, for joining us. As always, you can find the show notes at orangecactuscoffee.com/episode 50. Also going to ask you to do something that we've never asked for before, but if you could, would you please log into iTunes and give us a review? Under ratings and reviews, I know it's a pain because I'm driving, I'm walking, I'm doing something different when I listen to a podcast and the host asks me to log in and do it. So we don't ask a whole lot, but I'm asking you today. And I'll read it on the show, like Manny G. Manny G left a comment or a rating and a review over a month and a half ago, and it says, "I love this show. If you like coffee and happiness, click subscribe. Insightful, honest, and funny." Thanks, Manny. And then also, C. Griffith Unique jumped on there and said, "I enjoyed this podcast not only for the information, but also the entertainment value. It is hard not to like these guys." Man, appreciate you. Appreciate you listening. If you have a moment, would you please leave us a rating and review? And I'm not going to ask you for a long little while here. So much love, and we'll catch you next time.